Welcome to Power Lunch. The minutes of the Fed's September meeting show quite a bit of disagreement over the issue of 25 or 50, the 50 base point rate cut that they ultimately agreed on. I'll get to that in a second. Let me show you first where they agreed. All participants agreed it was appropriate to ease. They judged it was appropriate to continue the process of reducing the funds rate. And if the economy evolved as expected, they said it was appropriate to move to a more neutral policy stance. Most saw policy as restrictive. They disagreed, however, over how restrictive to be. A substantial majority, it says, supported lowering the funds rate by 50 basis points. However, it did not say how many or what, but a substantial majority wanted the 50. Recalibrating policy, they said, would bring it into better alignment with the inflation and labor markets. Some, however, would have preferred 25, and a few others said they could have supported 25. So some plus a few, we don't know how many that is, but it was more than just the one dissent is what we're learning that supported just 25. Several noted that 25 would be in line with a gradual path of policy normalization. A few noted 25 would be more predictable. Now, on the economy, some worried there was differences here that probably reflected the differences over 25 or 50. Some worried that the easing in the labor market could transition, quote, to a more serious deterioration. Many saw the economy growing at trend over the next few years, and almost all saw diminished risk to inflation and downside risk to employment. Several worried about consumer spending from cooling of the labor market. Some were concerned the pace of hiring was not strong enough to keep the unemployment rate from rising. So this was all before that recent September employment report that we got in October, but so there was a lot of concern about the job market. Further labor market cooling was not needed to get to the 2% inflation target, and a couple people were concerned though about upside inflation risks from geopolitical events, very much the way we heard this morning from Dallas Fed President Lori Logan. So guys, back to you. I think this 25 or 50 debate is something that could have an impact on future rate cuts. Going before the minutes, I haven't seen it since then. There was a 1 in 5 chance the Fed did nothing in the futures market for the November meeting. 20% probability of no cut in the futures market for November, guys.
So, Steve, let me just linger, if I might, for a second here. There was one dissent, but does that dissent necessarily mean that that individual wanted no cut whatsoever, or was just adamant that they wanted a 25% basis cut and they weren't going to go for 50 like everybody else apparently did, even though some would have preferred 25?
Yes, Tyler, as usual, a pinpoint clarification question from you, sir. That dissent that was out there was for preferring a 25 versus a 50. And what we learned in these minutes, again, thanks for the chance to clarify, is that there were a bunch more people, we just don't know how many, that would have gone along with the 25 had it been apparently either the majority decision out there or if they had their druthers. Remember, not everybody votes, only 12 of the 19 votes. So we know that 11 of the 12 voters supported it. It says a substantial majority supported 50. The question becomes, Tyler, how many folks are on the fence for the next 25? If you get, for example, tomorrow a higher than expected inflation print, if we get another strong jobs report, does that put more on the fence? Tyler, while I'm talking, I'm going to log into my computer, which of course I'm forbidden to do while I'm reading the minutes in lockup, and I'm going to give you a fresh quote as soon as I can on the probability. It doesn't look like it changed. It's still a 20% probability I'm seeing now of no change, an 80% probability of a quarter, and then going into the December meeting, an 85% probability of another quarter. So the market did not change based on these minutes. And I don't know if it should have or shouldn't have, but we do know there's a bit more support now, Tyler, than there was for just the 25 than we thought, either from the statement, the dissent, and from the press conference.